Alright, so you want to know what Scythe player best suits you? Let's get right into it. Here are all the Scythe legends in the game, and I'm going to list them from best to worst. Boom bam bing, let's go! Her secondary weapon is a spear, which is great because it is quite an easy weapon to learn with a few combos. Her stats are very even, only lacking in defense compared to other stats of hers. Her signatures are direct and simple, making the character easily accessible for new players. So if you're new to the game or know what you're doing, Mirage is a jack of all trades and will be easy to pick up. Nyx's secondary weapon is the blasters, which in my opinion isn't very easy to learn, but if you can, they will go hand in hand with the scythe. Nyx's statistics are more diverse than Mirage. A keynote is that Nyx has a lot of defense, which allows her to take a punch, which is, you know, great for new players when they need to take some punches. Some of Nyx's sigs are slightly harder to land, like the neutral for both of her weapons, but other than that, her sigs deal good damage and would make a good advantage against the enemy. I would recommend Nyx to people who are like around advanced at the game. You know, they're not too easy, because, you know, blasters are pretty hard to learn, especially if you're trying to pull off like X pivots and stuff. Mornex's secondary is gauntlets, which are direct but sometimes can be difficult to land against an opponent who has good spacing. Mordex's stats are relatively even, but ironically he is lacking in dex. Mordex's sigs do alright damage and reach pretty far. Overall, Mordex is a good choice for people who are intermediate or good at the game. Artemis's secondary is Lance, very easy to learn and would be a great help for them picking up the game if they're new at it. Artemis's stats are roughly the same except for her speed, which is through the roof. I would suggest using stances to take one out of speed to put in the other attack, dex, and defense. Artemis's sigs are quick and direct, making her a great choice for starters and advanced players alike. The lance can be used as a counter spam for people trying to get out of silver as well. Jiro's secondary is the sword. Jiro's stats are all over the place. His defense is surprisingly low, but he makes up in dex and speed. If you're skilled enough to avoid taking damage, he is a good choice for a main. Jiro's sigs have good distance but don't do that much damage. They're really good, especially if you like confusing your opponent with cool strings and flashy playstyles. He's a great pick if you're skilled enough to avoid getting hit. Fate's secondary weapon is the orb, which is regarded as one of the best weapons in the game. With scythe and orb, she can be a great option, especially if you know what you're doing. Her stats are mainly distributed in attack and speed, which is kind of a good thing, but she is lacking in defense and dexterity, which makes her a heavy hitter, but the lack of defense and dex could be a handicap for new players. Fate's sigs are very diverse, allowing her to attack far and close. She would be a great pick for people who want an edge on their opponent and are average in skill. Volkov is our last one. He's the last scythe player that has been released. Volkov's secondary is the axe. The scythe and axe fit well together, especially when considering his stats. Stats are not evenly distributed, rather he has a lot of dexterity and defense, but lacks in speed and attack, so he's basically the opposite of Fate. Dexterity helps with making quick plays with the axe and scythe though. Volkov's sigs are good. They can be quite confusing for new players, but if you get the hang of it, Volkov is a great choice. So to conclude, I reckon Artemis is the best choice. The good stats, you know, the lance is very easy for new players to learn, alongside with the scythe. Quick movement, just a good character all around. I'd say Artemis is your one to go. Sorry for keeping you here for quite a while, but like and subscribe, you know, help me out. I'll see you later. Peace.